We don't usually think of creativity as something we can rely on. We think of it as something extra, something we do when we have time, something we come back to when everything else is handled. But what if that's not true? What if creativity is actually one of the most reliable things you have? Not because it produces something, but because of what it gives back to you. There are moments in life when things change. Sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once. Something you built evolves. Something you depend on disappears. Something that felt stable doesn't anymore. And in those moments, there's this feeling of being ungrounded. Like you're not quite sure where to stand. Or what still feels like you. And I think this is where a lot of people feel disconnected from themselves. Not because they've lost something externally, but because they've lost a sense of internal steadiness.
What I've come to understand is this: creativity doesn't leave, even when everything around you changes. It doesn't depend on a space, or a schedule, or even a clear direction. It's something you carry. And sometimes it's the only thing that still feels like yours. Not in a dramatic way, in a quiet way, in the way your hands still know what to do, in the way you're drawn to something without needing to explain why.
I think one of the reasons we don't see creativity this way is because we've been taught to define it way too narrowly. We think creativity is about making something, that it has to be a finished piece, a product, something to show. But creativity is much bigger than that. It's how you respond when things don't go as planned. It's how you find your way through uncertainty. It's how you take something unclear and begin to shape it into something that makes sense. Creativity is not just expression. It is navigation.
Creativity doesn't always look powerful. It looks like small moments. Picking something up. Trying without knowing where it's going. Making something imperfect. But inside those small actions, there's something steady, something grounding. It gives your mind somewhere to land. It gives your body a rhythm. It gives you a way to move forward without needing everything figured out.
For me, this shows up in really simple ways. Sitting down with fabric, thread in my hands, no plan, just beginning. And what happens isn't always visible right away. But something shifts internally. My thoughts, they slow down. My body settles. There's more space. And from that place, things do become clearer. Not because I forced clarity, but because I gave myself a way back to it. In my book, Threads for Healing, I talk about this more deeply. How creativity became something I could rely on. Not just for making, but for moving through change. For reconnecting with myself. For beginning again over and over.
Creativity isn't something reserved for certain people. It's not something you either have or don't. It's something we all carry. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's buried. Sometimes it feels far away, but it is still there. And sometimes all it takes is a small moment to return to it.
If this resonates with you, I created something simple to help you begin. A free guide, and it's called Stitch 10 Minutes a Day. You can find the link in the description below. And if you really want to go deeper, you can also explore my book, Threads for Healing. I'm Joanne, and this is Threads for Healing. If you'd like to keep going on this together, subscribe. I'm here every Wednesday. And if you want to take the first step into this practice, I have a free guide called Stitch 10 Minutes a Day. Everything you need to begin. No experience necessary. The link is in the description. And if you're on Instagram, you can comment Stitch and I'll send it right to you. See you next week.